Sitaram, and Happy New Year to each and every one of you. And welcome back to another episode, a new year for Digital Guru with yours truly, your digital guru, Pandit Shiva Janak Maharaj. As we all know, in 2016, ICT Expertz and the Digital Guru and radio and TV Jagrati were very instrumental in bringing a lot of information, new information, to you, our listeners and viewers, and by extension, everyone who follows us on social media through our website, itntt.com, and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. A lot of new information on how to live in this digital world that we are in. And this year, 2017, is no different. In 2016, we started off with Safer Internet Day in February, and we shared a lot of information on how to keep your children especially safer on the internet. And then we also had in October, along with all the other programming that we had during the year, in October we had that special month, National Cyber Security Awareness Month, where ICT Expertz were the champions for national cyber security here in Trinidad and Tobago. In 2017, we kicked the year off, and we start off this year on the Digital Guru, on radio and TV Jagrati, with the very special programming geared to informing you of the ways you can integrate technology into your lives without losing too much of that human factor within your life. And this year, as you saw in that ad that we started off with, which you will see again in a little while, with some tips on how to have that safety in your home when it comes to your privacy of your information. The privacy of your information, where you have your data. Is it really private? By the end of today's program, we will find out all about how to keep your personal data, what is personal data, and how to keep your personal data safe online with this use of the internet. So to begin our discussions, we'll first look once again at what is Safer Internet Day and how some 3 simple steps in this video on how you can keep your personal data safe online.
Did you know that January 28th is Data Privacy Day? Well, now you do, and I bet you're wondering why you should care. What you may not realize is that there's probably more of your personal information floating around in cyberspace than you think. Everything from what you post on social media and your browsing habits, to the information organizations collect about you online leaves a digital footprint. And your reputation is an important thing to maintain. We're all guilty of oversharing sometimes, but don't panic. That's why Data Privacy Day exists, to help and remind you to better manage your privacy and protect your personal information. Here's 3 things to remember. Personal information is like money. Value it, protect it. Information about you, such as the games you like to play, what you search online, and where you shop and live, has value, just like money. Be thoughtful about who gets that information and how it's collected through apps and websites. Share with care. What you post can last a lifetime. Before posting online, think about how it might be perceived now and in the future, and who might see it. Post only about others as you have them post about you. The golden rule applies online as well. Here's how you can get involved. For more tips and to learn more about Data Privacy Day, visit staysafeonline.org/DPD. And you can also follow us on social media.
There we have it. You have seen that ad for that Data Privacy Day, DPD. Now, Data Privacy Day, the name wasn't always Data Privacy Day. You see, on the 26th of April 2006, the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe decided to launch a Data Protection Day. So the original name was Data Protection Day, to be celebrated each year on the 28th of January. On the 28th of January is the day that was chosen back in 2006 to celebrate Data Protection Day. While Why the 28th? This was the date that corresponds to the anniversary of the opening of the signature of the Council of Europe's Convention 108 for the protection of individuals with regard to automatic processing of personal data, which has been for over 30 years being done in the automatic processing of data, your personal data. Data Protection Day is now celebrated globally, as it is now called Data Privacy Day. And so the name on the global scale, we call it Data Privacy Day. And when is that? That is on January 28th. So respecting, the theme for this year is respecting privacy, safeguarding data, and enabling trust is the theme for Data Privacy Day 2017. And so we are here today to tell you why Data Privacy Day is important to you, why your data is important, your personal information and data is important in the digital world. So how much information about you is freely available to strangers? Have you ever thought about that? These are some of the questions that you need to think about, especially in a digital world. And as your digital guru, I'm here to tell you why it is important to you. How much access do you grant social networks and all your friends and families, and even those who are not on your list as friends and families, access to your data? Sometimes you may be given access and you don't even know. So we'll tell you how to safeguard yourselves from that today. And so we encourage you to enjoy safer internet. So internet, if we think about data Protection Day, Data Privacy Day. First of all, let's understand what is data. And data is the basic building blocks for information. And we know that we are in the information age, and the information age is fueled by the internet. So data is just raw, not information, but just raw meanings, or let's say the color red. The color red is data. It's just a color. It has no meaning to it. If you add meaning to it, that data becomes information. So if you say red car, your mind starts to think of red, but in a certain context. It's more contextual. You have meaning actually, red car. So you can visualize a red car. And then if you think about that information now being put into context, like I want to buy a red car, it becomes information. And when you put that information to use, it becomes wisdom. And so the basic building block of it all is data. Data is just that raw elements or words or description with absolutely no meaning. So it can be any adjective, any noun, any verb, any word at all, and anything at all can be data. In the digital world, that basic building block of data could be an example such as your IP address, which none of you know what is your IP address, or many of you don't know unless you're very technical what your IP address is. But your IP address, which is your internet protocol address, is what the whole world identifies you as on the internet. Now, the big question is, how private is your information? And by the end of this next video that I'll share with you today as we discuss Data Privacy Day, by the end of this video, you will know and recognize that your data is not as private as you thought it was. Let us see in our next video, how private is your data?
This is Liz. She has a surprise for her boyfriend. She hasn't told anyone about her plans, but she can't keep them a secret. Google knows Liz is planning a trip because she uses Gmail. Liz is no stranger to Google. Google already knows Liz by her email account and her internet address, and it knows her contact list. Liz's internet service provider has a lot of the same information about her, including her full name and street address. When Liz searches for flights, Google also knows that she wants to go to Hawaii. When she clicks on a travel site to buy tickets, it knows the search terms she used to get there. The travel site also knows when she's planning to go to Hawaii. And it knows who she's traveling with and her frequent flyer status. The federal government also learns where and when Liz is traveling and who's traveling with her, and checks if she's on a terror watch list. From the moment Liz clicked on the travel site, dozens of advertising and marketing firms also have begun tracking her online behavior with small computer programs called cookies that they have embedded in the site. These firms may not know Liz by name yet, but they know her by unique tracking codes and can follow her movements across the web. They see when she goes to another site to read about the best beaches in Hawaii and immediately start showing her ads for bathing suits. They learn more about Liz's interests when she goes to her favorite shopping site. Google, Facebook, and Twitter also are gathering more information about Liz's behavior, with share buttons they have embedded on the shopping site, even if she doesn't click on them. Facebook learns that Liz may be interested in bathing suits through its like button, even before she posts a picture of a bikini on her wall. Her post confirms her interests in bathing suits to Facebook, which immediately shows her an ad for a diet shake. The tracking doesn't stop when Liz goes to the mall. Google knows where Liz is headed because she uses Google Maps. As she drives along, a police car scans her license plate and enters the number into a law enforcement database. Her cell phone carrier, Verizon, also records her movements and includes her location data in a bundle of customer information it sells to data brokers. Those brokers then sell the information to advertisers, marketers, and other businesses. When Liz arrives at the mall, the shopping center tracks her phone's Wi-Fi signal to see which stores she enters. And when she walks into a boutique, cameras with facial recognition software take her picture and may store it for years. The cameras are also equipped with software that tracks how much time she spends in each aisle. When Liz buys a bathing suit, the store may share information about her purchase with data brokers. Before leaving the mall, Liz stops at a pharmacy to pick up a few more things for her trip. Because Liz signed up for the drugstore's rewards programs, it tracks her prescriptions and shares information with marketers about her purchases, including the home pregnancy test. And through a partnership with the drugstore, Facebook learns that the diet shake ad it showed her earlier in the day was effective. Many of the advertisers and marketers that track Liz claim they cannot identify her, but these firms have a pretty good idea of who she is. Google and Verizon have a much clearer picture of Liz because they know her email contacts, the phone number she has called, and the locations she's visited. Data brokers may know a bit more about Liz because they can link many of her online and offline activities. Law enforcement, private investigators, and attorneys can obtain an even better picture of Liz. They can gain access to her private life with a subpoena or a court order, which require a lower burden of proof than a search warrant. They can find out who she has called and who has called her. They can get location data from her cell phone records. They can find out the internet addresses of the computers she has used to go online and which sites she has visited. The picture of Liz created by this information is very detailed. She has little control over who sees it. Neither do you.
And here we see, I'm sure most of you would realize from that video that your information, your personal data is not really private in today's digital world. So what can we do about it? How can we keep ourselves a little more private? First of all, we need to understand what exactly is privacy. And privacy can be defined in two ways. Privacy can, one, be you wanting to be alone and to be private, away from everyone else. And privacy, in this case, is also referring to what you share and who you share it with. It's your privacy, it's your prerogative, who you share and what you share. It's your privacy to choose who you share your information with. In this case, in many cases, you do have the choice. And when you sign up for most social networking sites, you do have a privacy policy that you read and agree to. And in this privacy policy, which in most cases, in terms of policies and agreements, most people don't read because it's very lengthy and it's very legal and technical. And so we just skip and we just say, yes, I agree. Now, when you agree, in the fine print of those agreements, you are agreeing to share your information, your likes, your dislikes, your pictures, your whatever. You're actually handing it over to the company that you're signing that agreement with. When that company has the rights over your personal data, then they can do whatever they want with it according to their agreements. In that they can sell it to a third-party advertising or marketing agency, which will then target you. And I'm sure many of you who have use internet services to shop, or maybe even Google, if you use Google to do your searches, or any search engine for that matter, that's how they make their money. Even though it's a free service to you, they make their money from profiling you and because of your likes and dislikes and your personal data that you have there, that you have shared to you knowingly to your friends and families. They take it to a whole new level and make a profile of you and send you things that they think you will be interested in. And I'm sure many of you would have experiences. So what is behind all this? Because of the digital devices, we provide great convenience in our lives today, and we use it for so much. Our mobile phones, they are smartphones, and it's estimated by the year 2020 that over 30.7 billion devices will be connected to the internet. We have spoken about this in previous Digital Guru episodes, where we spoke about the Internet of Things, where you will have devices that speak to each other. And so if your vehicle needs some part, a message will automatically be sent and an order will be raised for that part, and an appointment will be made for you to go in and fix your vehicle, and it's all done without you having any interaction in the process, except for saying, okay, I am available on that day or not. And if that program, that analytics which goes on behind the scene of analyzing your data and information, as you saw in the video, for data privacy, then you need to be very much aware of who has access to your data. And I think now many of you who really understand what I'm saying will go through and read your data privacy policies before you agree to when you sign up for almost anything. So there are many ways, because of the Internet of Things now, you are constantly generating data about yourself and others, your personal information such as your behaviors, your preferences, and this is the fuel which makes those devices work, and which allows all these internet marketers and advertisers to use your information to give you what they think you want and what you are looking for. So there are many important ways that you can keep yourself safe. Your personal information is like money. Value it, protect it. That's one of the sayings that we have when it comes to your data protection and your data privacy. When it comes to your information is as good as gold. And so we need to keep in mind different ways of how you can keep that information, that data, private and maintain your privacy. So one of the things you can do, now I'll share with you 3 ways, and within these 3 main headings of ways that you can keep your data private online. And have no fear, if some of these seem very technical, of course, you know, as the Digital Guru, we are here through itntt.com and all our Facebook, as we are the champions for Trinidad and Tobago. Once again, ICT Expertz, the very first to be the champions for Data Privacy Day. I got that email just this morning, hours before I came here for this program, that we were authorized here in Trinidad and Tobago as the first champions of this cause for Data Privacy Day. As you know, through our digital literacy programs, we try to teach these things. And if you find what I'm speaking about seems a little far-fetched, the reality is, it is real, and you need to know how to deal with it. So tip number one, or the main heading that we will share with you, is own your online presence. Set the privacy and security settings on your social medias and your services that you use online. Set your privacy. There are settings in most of the well-known social networks for you to manage and your privacy in terms of what you share with who. And that's very important that you are aware of. If you didn't know, now you know. Go check it out and check that information so you'll be comfortable with which pictures, which photos, which statements you share with whom. And it's very important that you know that. So one of the most popular social networking sites is Facebook, as many of you do have your Facebook accounts. And we will now share with you a video on how do you set your privacy using Facebook. Of course, these videos and the entire program that you are looking and viewing on radio and TV, or listening to on radio and TV Jagrati, will be available on YouTube for you to review. So now we will share with you how do you set your privacy settings for one of the major social networks, which is Facebook. And that way you will manage your privacy as to who gets your information and what information they get. So let us see how to set your privacy in Facebook.
With Facebook always changing its settings, it can be hard to keep track of who's seeing what on your profile. I'm Dan Graziano. In this how-to, I'm going to show you how to tighten up your Facebook settings to ensure that your information isn't available to just anyone. Venture over to your Facebook page, click on the down arrow at the top right-hand corner of your screen, select Settings, and then Privacy. First, we're going to change who can see your post. I prefer to only share my status updates with my friends, but in the Who Can See My Future Posts section, you can choose to share them with the public, your friends, only yourself, a custom list of people, or a specific group. However, this setting only changes the visibility of your future post. You can individually change your older posts by clicking on the activity log, which will show you all the updates you've posted, liked, or commented on. To automatically change all of your old posts to only be visible to your friends, click on the Limit Past Post options, followed by the Limit Old Post button. If you would like a single status update to be visible to a different group of people, click on the drop-down menu next to the Post button when writing a new status. Next up, let's change who can contact you. By default, Facebook allows anyone to send you a friend request and messages. In the privacy settings, you will find an option to allow only friends of friends to send your request, and change your inbox to strict filtering, which will limit your inbox messages to only those from your friends. In addition to changing who can look you up using your email address or phone number, two things that are also found in the privacy settings, the last thing you will want to change is preventing search engines like Google and Bing from linking to your profile. In the privacy settings, simply click on the edit button next to where it reads, "Do you want other search engines to link to your timeline?" and make sure the "Let other search engines link to your timeline" box is unchecked. For more how-tos like this one, be sure to visit howto.cnet.com. You can also reach out to me on Twitter with any questions or comments. I'm Dan Graziano for CNET. Thanks for watching.
So there we shared with you, our viewers and listeners on radio and TV Jagrati, of the Digital Guru with yours truly, Pandit Shiva Janak Maharaj. We shared with you there how to set the privacy settings with one of we will consider one of the most major social networks, which is in use with many of you, and many of you use it, and we showed there how to set your privacy settings. So one of the first things that you want to do is be the boss of your own online presence. In that, you can choose who sees what and why. And when doing the research for this topic, we came across a video which was a little lengthy, but in it, a teenager got a job, and they made some, not so nice comments about getting that job, in terms of tomorrow I have to go to that boring place to work or something like that. unknowing to her, within her social networks, the boss of the company where she was going to work saw the message, and he replied, "Correction, you do not have a job to go to tomorrow because of your statements you just made." And so it's very important that you know what you say, when you say, how you say it. You have to think very carefully. And in our programs leading up to January 28, which is Data Privacy Day, we will tell you some more tips on how you can manage your online presence. However, the next tip or main category, because within this category there's so much that we can speak about. This can actually take a whole program, but we won't have time to touch on all of the aspects of it. Is what we call lockdown of your login. You know, your login credentials for your emails, for your Facebook, for your social media, all of that. Managing passwords, using strong passwords, using biometrics, using, we have spoken about two-layer verification. You know, we have spoken about authentication, double authentication, or two-factor authentication. These are sound like very technical terms, but they are very common sense ways in which you can keep your information safe and only accessed by you. So, lockdown of your login is a term. Lockdown of your login information is very important for you to understand and know about as well. You have to keep your username and passwords protected for you and you alone. So let us see in an interview that was done on what are some of the main ways that you can lock down your username and password so they are very private to you and that nobody else can access your information on your email or your social networks. Our next thing, lockdown. What are the ways in how you can lock down your login?
Now on to the Fox 31 problem solvers. We have some critical consumer information that could save you a lot of money. Listen to this. Every 2 seconds, someone is a victim of identity fraud. That's why the Better Business Bureau is teaming up with the White House and the National Cybersecurity Alliance to call on consumers and businesses to lock down your login. Kim States from the Better Business Bureau is here to explain what exactly do you mean by that, Kim?
Well, really what it means is passwords are just not enough anymore. And so this whole campaign is really to help people understand that two-step authentication is really required everywhere that you require a password login.
In this day and age, you know, in 2016, we do everything on the internet, our social media, we bank online, we go shopping online. Does it make you more vulnerable?
It absolutely does. I mean, we live online. That's how business is conducted. And you've heard of all of the major breaches that we've had over the last couple of years, very large institutions. And you as an individual are just as vulnerable to those types of breaches.
So you go back to the login. What can you do to make your password more secure, to protect yourself?
Right, well, most websites today offer free two-step authentication. Essentially what that means is if you try to log in, let's say to your Google account, it'll say, send you a text message with a special code that you on your phone that you then have to enter to access that account. And most websites, banking sites, will offer that free service. There's also a two-step authentication that you can use through a key fob, a security key fob. So this will, plug into your USB port, and you enter a PIN, and then it gives you the code to then log into your network.
And I feel like the programs online are getting more sophisticated too. When you go to type in your password, you have to have one uppercase, one lowercase, a numeric, and a symbol. Have you seen that trend too?
Absolutely, and it's a good practice to make them as complex as you can. And it's also a good practice to change them regularly. You don't want to let those passwords stay the same for several months. So it's every October National Cybersecurity Month, make it a practice to go in and update all of those passwords.
And we've come a long way with technology. I mean, the finger and facial recognition, tell us more about that.
Well, also, that's something that's built into almost every new device. You know, I use the finger swipe on my phone. So it's really two-step authentication is either it's using something you have, which is facial recognition, a fingerprint, or a code through the security fob, and something you know, which is your password.
Is it okay to have the same password for everything? I mean, how do you remember so many different passwords? What's the best advice there?
Well, there are also security keys or key fobs where you can securely store all of those passwords. So no, it's not okay to have the same password for every account, and it's not okay to use common, you know, things like your address or
password as the password.
Your pet's name, or password is the password. Not a good idea. So there are also tools you can use to store all of those.
How often should you be updating your password?
You know, every 3 to 6 months really is good practice. At a minimum every year, but 3 to 6 months really is a good idea.
All right, Kim, thanks so much for being here with us. We do appreciate it. That's
some tips and tricks on how to lock down your username and password. So just a username and password to access any of these sites is not enough. It's not good enough. And so one of the things that may be new to you there, because they spoke about the two-step verification, which we've spoken about in previous Digital Guru episodes, and one of the other things that they would have spoken about there is a physical key that you can, like a USB key, a special USB key that you can use to lock down your system, your computer. And these keys are now actually being used to access your emails. For example, Google has a special key that you can, physical key that you need to press in so that you can have this access to your information when you want. One of the others I came about in the research was a very nice one for your system, for your computer itself, which is called Gatekeeper. And so in this next video, we'll see how Gatekeeper can be something of use to you for that two-step authentication. Not only a password, but Gatekeeper can really help you with your keeping your information private to just you.
Gatekeeper is a wireless key fob that automatically locks your computer when you walk away. When you walk back, Gatekeeper will have unlocked your computer by the time you've sat down. Thanks to Gatekeeper, your computer is never left unlocked and vulnerable to snooping. You don't have to waste any valuable time locking and unlocking your PC. When you get up from your computer, there's nothing to stop a colleague helping themselves. With Gatekeeper, the computer will lock as soon as you leave your desk. Using Gatekeeper couldn't be easier. Simply insert the included battery and download the software. Pair the dongle and you're ready to go. There are 3 unlock modes, the first of which is automatic. When set to automatic, Gatekeeper will unlock your PC within a customizable range anywhere from 3 to 30 feet. This mode is beneficial for people such as IT professionals, who are frequently leaving and returning to their workstations, providing security without wasting precious time. The second option is touch to log in. When in this mode, Gatekeeper requires the user to tap Gatekeeper against the Bluetooth receiver in order to unlock the computer. This mode ensures that only the person with the key fob can access a computer, even if Gatekeeper is in range. Finally, login using Gatekeeper and PIN requires the user to enter a password alongside the presence of Gatekeeper before the computer can be unlocked. This two-factor login option is the most secure, as it adds a second layer of security to logging in. This is ideal for use in hospitals and healthcare facilities by doctors and nurses, or any other industry that needs to protect confidential information. But what happens if you lose your Gatekeeper? Thankfully, the Gatekeeper also functions as a Bluetooth tracker, so you can find it and your keys with the Gatekeeper app on your phone. This works while you're within 30 feet of Gatekeeper, providing it's not connected to your computer. When located, Gatekeeper will chime and the app will give you an idea of how far away the key fob is. To learn more about Gatekeeper, visit gkchain.com.
There we see, on here on Digital Guru, it's part of our duty to keep you updated with the technology and where it's heading. And so Gatekeeper I found to be a very nice device, and there may be others just like it that will help you to secure your data and who accesses your data, help you with the privacy of your data. We also know of other means that are in use with your smartphones. They come with biometrics, fingerprint scanning, face recognition scanning, and all these things should be used in conjunction with the password, because a username and password is just not enough in this digital world to say that you are the owner of your data. You are the one that has the rights over who sees that data and what happens with that data. This is very important. So far we have shared with you for Data Privacy Day, which will be on the 28th of January. And ICT Expertz, Digital Guru, and Radio TV Jagrati are the first to bring this information to you here in Trinidad and Tobago, as ICT Expertz is now also the champions of Data Privacy Day here in Trinidad and Tobago. And you're hearing it first. We are launching it here, our campaign. So we urge you, please go to itntt.com and see all our Facebook accounts, our Twitter, our YouTube. Tell your children, tell your friends to join, because we will be sharing information over the next month until the 28th. We also have another big launch, which I'll tell you more about maybe next week or on some other programs here on Radio and TV Jagrati, that we will be heading once again here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Are you like Bob? Every day, Bob went online to read his email, check his online banking, and connect on social networks. And just like you, Bob was constantly typing out usernames and passwords for all of his logins. Sometimes he couldn't even remember what his passwords were. Then Bob tried LastPass, a secure password manager. With LastPass, Bob's life is easier. He just adds his passwords to his LastPass vault, and the next time he visits a site, LastPass logs in for him. Since his data is encrypted and decrypted locally, Bob knows his information is safe. And the best part? LastPass keeps Bob's data securely synced across all of his devices. He can use it on his desktop, his Mac, his new smartphone, even when he uses a friend's computer. Whether he needs his passwords at work, at home, or on the go, LastPass gives Bob instant access to all of his data. Be like Bob. Let LastPass help you take control of your passwords and simplify your online life.
LastPass is a good example of a website app that you can use, because as we were saying before, that lockdown, you need to have very secure passwords, and it's very difficult to remember all the passwords for all the sites you have to remember them for. So LastPass is one that we suggest that you get to know, and others that will help you create very secure passwords. In the research we saw that hackers, they really don't like LastPass and what it does in keeping your information very, very secure, very private. And so very last one, that tip that I'll share with you today in keeping your personal data. So today we are speaking about you and your data. Next week I will give to you some information on how businesses, what they do with your data, and how they can also keep your data private, and you have the rights to tell them about the privacy of your data if you need to. And the last tip that we will share with you in keeping your information safe online, keeping your information private online, is to keep a clean system, keep a clean machine. It's very important that you keep your information, that you update your security software, that your web browsers, your operating systems, and if these names sound very far for you, you don't know what is an operating system, what is an application, what is an app, what is a virus, a malware. All these things are taught in our courses that will be coming up very soon. Listen, stay tuned to Radio and TV Jagrati. You will hear of our upcoming, maybe by next week, we will launch our courses, our timetables of our courses for the year, where we will have your digital citizenship training, where you would learn about all these things and how to survive in this digital world. And so let us see our last video for today, where how you can keep your system clean.
Hi, this is Terry with IT Security Tip number 9, talking about if you installed it, you must update it. There are thousands of hackers and very successful criminal business people who get up every morning with one goal in mind: to find a new vulnerability in commonly installed software so they can access your computers and data that's on them. Software that's common across nearly all computers can include Adobe Flash, Adobe Reader, Adobe QuickTime, Oracle's Java, Microsoft's .NET, and Silverlight, just to name a few. A crude analogy for a vulnerability is an allergy in humans. This may seem a little bit silly, but it absolutely illustrates the point great. What if someone got $1 every time you sneezed? If they found out you had an allergy to cats, it would be in their best interest to take advantage to keep you supplied with kittens, exploiting your vulnerability. In software, the allergy is always changing, and I really mean continually, but the computer owner can typically never know what it is. Cyber criminals are very good at researching and finding flaws they can exploit to their advantage. Vulnerabilities in software can be the result of almost anything: the presence of another software product or a particular version of it, or even an update to that software which creates the vulnerability. That's why software manufacturing companies frequently issue updates and patches for a known vulnerability, also known as security bugs. Once a known one is announced via a patch, hackers get to work like crazy trying to figure out how to use it and access those users who are lazy about installing updates. That's why it's critically important to update installed software programs as soon as possible in most cases. Another aspect of patches and updates: when something's not working correctly, a software company's tech support will likely not even consider troubleshooting the issue if all the software involved is not completely updated, simply because it represents an unknown quantity to them. Of course, if you're a client of ours or any competent IT management company, we're working proactively to keep Microsoft and other companies' software up to date for you. But your home computers, smartphone, and other devices that may not be under professional protection still need continual attention to ensure they stay up to date. Keep your digital tools and toys up to date to give you the best chance at being both secure and productive. This is Terry Cole with Cole Informatics, reminding you about the golden rule of the internet: if it's free, you're the product. See you next time.
And so, knowing all of this, knowing to get your systems regularly cleaned and having all your updates done, these are all ways and simple ways you can keep your information private. Again, remember to read your policies, your privacy policies, before you sign up for anything. Be very careful of the fine prints of who your information is being shared with. As we saw before, this information can be looked at and accessed by even the government and advertising agencies, marketing agencies, and that may not be a bad thing, but also there are those who will use your information to make a profile of you to do bad things to you, as we all know and we have seen in recent times. So it's very important that we do keep our information private, and we have the rights, we should have the rights to say who accesses our information and where our information goes. And so ICT Expertz, Digital Guru, Radio and TV Jagrati are once again the champions in bringing this information to you. Myself, your digital guru, Shiva Janak Maharaj, and bringing this information to you about Data Privacy Day, which is the 28th of January. And so we'll share more with you. Next week we'll share how businesses use your data, and we will also tell you about the other big day that we will be celebrating here in Trinidad and Tobago, at least joining the world, the globe, on a global basis for that. And we urge you, please join itntt.com, visit, you can send us an email, give us a call at our office 692-4283 if you want more information on any of the topics that we have. If you want to get some information, as I said, the courses that we'll be running for this year that you have learned to love, that we will have that available to you by next week. But you can call, give us your name. We know some of your interested persons called last week. Give us a call, 692-4283. Check our website, check us on Facebook, on YouTube, Twitter, Google+, it's all there. We will be sharing information on how to keep your information private. Until our next episode, I am your digital guru, Shiva Janak Maharaj. Sitaram.
Your password isn't secure. There's nothing that a hacker loves more, but there's an strong, authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong, authenticate. Use your fingerprint, your face, or a code. At home or work or on the road. 2 steps are safer than 1 or 3 or 4. And keeping data safe is so much fun. Authenticate, strong, authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong, authenticate.
Did you know that January 28th is Data Privacy Day? Well, now you do, and I bet you're wondering why you should care. What you may not realize is that there's probably more of your personal information floating around in cyberspace than you think. Everything from what you post on social media and your browsing habits, to the information organizations collect about you online leaves a digital footprint. And your reputation is an important thing to maintain. We're all guilty of oversharing sometimes, but don't panic. That's why Data Privacy Day exists. To help and remind you to better manage your privacy and protect your personal information.